live. Vince and Stevie D, OWSports Podcast is the place to be. Bills Mafia, repping the red, white, and blue. No doubt with Josh Allen, just stand up and shout. Gang green, coming with that New York flair. Jets in the mix, you know they taking it there. The rivalry is fierce, but they keep it 100. Legends in the making, pressure never stunted. From MetLife to Highmark, bright lights when the night's dark. Touchdown, dream, steel beams, leave a big spark. Bills and Jets, we clash on the field, but on this podcast, we keep it sealed. Respect for the game, we all in the zone. Vince and Stevie D, we holding our own. So tune in tight, don't miss a beat. OW Sports, where the real ones meet. Sit back.
It's OW Sports, the fastest growing podcast about the Buffalo Bills and New York Jets. You get the best takes, the most engaging interviews, and they are always keeping it real. So sit back, relax, and get ready to talk some NFL. Now here's your hosts, Vince and Stevie D.
And welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports. I'm Vince, and as you can see, I am without my co-host, Stevie D. So sit back and relax for some Bills talk, that's for sure. 100% all Bills. No, in all fairness, without my man Stevie D, who is still enjoying a wonderful vacation as he is about to approach a milestone, so we wish him all the best. We actually will be linking up for the first time in a long time. It seems like it's been forever since we've actually been in the same room together. Obviously, we like to share our experiences, our thoughts, our wisdom. Some may call it wisdom, but be able to share that with you through the powers and magic of technology. But Stevie D will be down here in Tampa for this week's Jets Buccaneers game. So we're definitely going to link up. Actually, we're both going to the game. So it'll be good to see Stevie D and the family and be able to celebrate a little bit with him as well. So this show, we're still going to keep the same tenor. We're going to rock and roll. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened in week 2 in the NFL. We're going to dive into what will be the Thursday night massacre. Maybe I got a little ahead of myself. I typically do not do that. I've stayed away from any of my prognostication, any of my predictions when it comes to the Bills. A little superstitious. So, erring on the side of caution, it'll be a good game. We'll say that. But we'll preview the Bills-Dolphins game. We're also going to preview a little bit on the Jets-Buccaneers game because, injury news that came out breaking, which we kind of knew. Justin Fields left early, in the second half, but he left the game in the Bills-Jets game. Tyrod Taylor came in, and Justin left with a concussion, and he was just ruled out today. So it will be Tyrod Taylor under center as the Jets take on the Buccaneers. And then we look around the league. I mean, this was definitely a white coat week, if you will, in the NFL. Multiple injuries across the board and a lot to the signal callers out there. For you fantasy players, I hope you have a good backup, or I hope you have a handcuff to the backup, because some big names going out, and it's going to kind of change the landscape, change some of the predictions that are out there. And matter of fact, let's just jump into it. Speaking of that, you look at what's happening in Cincinnati, right? So Cincinnati, they thought they were on track. They thought that this was their year. They thought that they had the pieces in place, and then all of a sudden you had the Hendrickson holdout, and that Hendrickson holdout, maybe that was a little bit of foreshadowing, because everybody was like, we just got to get this guy in. And once we get him in, we're all set. We're going to take this division. We're better than Baltimore. We're better than Buffalo and Kansas City. We're going to be the representative for the AFC in the Super Bowl. And then comes the injury to Joe Burrow. And that injury, what they're saying, basically he's going to be out until mid-December. That's it. That's it. You backup or no backup, it does not matter. That's a wrap for the Cincinnati Bengals. And really now it becomes the Baltimore Ravens Invitational. Maybe Pittsburgh, but what we saw last week, I don't think so. It's really Baltimore's to lose. Cincinnati, they have a team with great wide receivers. I mean, that's for sure. When you look at the likes of a Jamar Chase, a T. Higgins, they have the ability to put up some points. No denying that. But when you talk about Joe Burrow, to the Bengals fans, in fairness to the Bengals fans, Joe Burrow is their Josh Allen. He is their guy. And without him there under center, I don't see it. I don't see it. And for the Cincinnati Bengals, Jake Browning, he's come in and he's done some things, and he's thrown the ball around, and he's going to get you only so far. There's a reason why he was the number 2 quarterback on that depth chart, and it's good to have a guy he can maybe steady the ship, and really that's what you want. As us as Buffalo Bills fans, we know what Frank Reich meant to the team. But we also knew that Frank Reich was not the guy that we were going to count on to go the entire season as our number 1 quarterback. It was ride or die with Jim Kelly. And that's the same thing for the Cincinnati Bengals. So that's a big blow for the Cincinnati Bengals. And it really kind of changes the dynamic in the AFC. As a Bills fan, you kind of wanted the Ravens to have a little bit more competition in their division, maybe, get a few losses in there, and Cincinnati was one of those teams to do that. Another big injury, even though this is quote-unquote still his rookie year, is the injury to J.J. McCarthy. He's going to be sidelined for a couple weeks. Thank goodness for him, it's not going to be an entire season like what he experienced last year. But this is a team that I'm not going to call them an enigma yet, but this is a team that I would expect a lot more from. And with McCarthy, the way that he played at Michigan, maybe it's just the fact that he hasn't had that full season to kind of remove that rookie moniker or that rookie label from his chest. And obviously missing Addison, but they just don't look like a team that we saw last year with Sam Darnold at quarterback. And Sam is not really the guy. He is a good NFL starting quarterback. And right now with JJ in there, not doing it, and now he's going to be out for multiple weeks. That's another big blow. Definitely Lions fans have to be sighing a bit of relief there. And obviously the Packers right now just seem so dominant. The Micah Parsons deal, that really just put them over the top. Another injury, Jaden Daniels. Again, all these signal callers going out, it seems like week 2 was just the death nail. Even Josh had to go out with the broken nose. But thank goodness, and I know all of Bills fans, all of Bills Mafia, held a collective sigh. It held their breath as you watched Josh running off the field. But he was able to come back. For Jaden Daniels, it's going to be interesting to see what his status and what his future will be there as far as health-wise for the upcoming week. So just a lot of things that were going on injury-wise throughout the NFL. And it changes how you start to look at certain teams, right? So with Daniels out, does that help elevate the Cowboys, who seem to be just teetering there? They got lucky, that's for sure. They absolutely got lucky, and as we kind of segue into that, let's talk a little bit about that. That was probably one of the wildest games that we saw and that we had last week, with the Giants and the Cowboys going at it. You thought that week one with the Bills and Ravens was crazy what happened in the fourth quarter. How about 41 points in the fourth quarter? Right? The Bills scored 41 in the entire game. The Ravens scored 40 in the entire game. Between the Giants and the Cowboys, they scored 41 points in one quarter. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Russell Wilson going for 450 yards. I'm not, if you're a follower of the podcast, I am not, absolutely not a Russell Wilson fan. But that just tells you that the Cowboys secondary is, we'll just say, not good. I think that's the easiest way to put it. They are not good. But the Cowboys, back, just how they were able to do it, Brandon Aubrey able to kick and knock home the field goal at the end of regulation, and then comes in and kicks the game winner. So now they're on a little bit of a roll. We'll give them a one-game roll. The Cowboys are moving now after that debacle week one. And again, with Jaden Daniels being out, maybe the Cowboys can parlay that. I still don't think they're better than the Eagles. And the Giants are just the Giants, right? The Giants need to just go to Jackson Dart and be done with everything. But it really does give the Cowboys that shot to be able to kind of do something there in the NFC East. Look who we have. We have Craig. Hey, Craig, how are you? Fellas, it's only one. Stevie D is on a well-deserved vacation, and so I am running this solo today. So as I preface, get ready for a heavy dose of Bills talk. So get ready. You don't have to listen to the green. No, in fairness, I will talk a little bit about the Jets. And then again, to kind of go back around the NFL, talking about the injuries, but there are some other things that I definitely want to highlight when we take a look at what went on last week. The Bills' upcoming opponent, the Miami Dolphins. Let's just start with it right there. Mike McDaniel, starting the season out 0-2, and more than likely starting out 0-3. They are just a dumpster fire. It started early on in the season, and it's carried all the way through, through the first two games. The first game just absolutely just getting trounced, and they actually had a shot to beat the Patriots, which, by a foot out of bounds. And it wasn't like a likely toe out of bounds. This was a full foot out of bounds. That took a touchdown off the board, and they could never recover. The Dolphins are truly a mess. And Mike McDaniel, this may be your last game. If you kind of look at the timing and the way the NFL loves to do it, the owners in the NFL, they love to do it. Coaching changes seem to happen either after the Thursday night game because you have the 10 days, or they like to happen during the bye week. This is if we're doing an in-season coaching change. You're going to start potentially, again, I have to be careful, you're potentially going to start out 0-3 after a Thursday night game and have not looked great. It may be the time to pull the plug. We had talked about it early. We didn't go too deep on the podcast, but we had talked about coaches on the hot seat. And definitely Mike McDaniel was a number one. And an 0-3 start, very disappointing. that could be it. That could spell disaster for the Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniel there. So we will see. But again, they just can't get out of their own way. Another game, we were given the annual dual Monday night game. Not a fan. I'm going to put it out there right now. Not a fan. And these games were tough. They were tough to watch. The Buccaneers game, Tampa played the Houston Texans. I will give Baker Mayfield credit for what he did in the second half and really what he did on that last drive of the game. But when I watched that game, it just seemed like, are we watching a preseason game? Are we watching, a D2 school playing in college? Because these guys, it was, you had block punts, you had just an offensive line that was giving up sacks all over the place. You had CJ Stroud that couldn't throw a ball 5 yards, let alone 10 yards. What do they say? Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He couldn't throw the ball into the ocean. It was horrible. And this is CJ Stroud, the guy we were talking about, as one of the, the next one. He was one of the up and comers, and we gave him the pass, saying a sophomore slump, but it seems to be more than a sophomore slump. It's really, you don't have Tank Dell and Nico Collins out there. That's the problem, right? You thought that putting Stephon Diggs out there, that would help until he got hurt. It's not. And, there are some answers that need to be given out there in Houston, because you had something. You had something, and you just let it kind of dissipate. And now you're struggling. And you're in a division that you should. I hate to use the word should. Anybody that works with me knows that when we get in calls, I always say, do not use the word should, right? Because should means you're hedging your bet. So I want facts. Let's deal with facts. And when I look at this team, I'm going to break my own golden rule. You should be better than the Indianapolis Colts. You should be better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. You should be better than the Tennessee Titans. But you're not. And that's a problem. You are not. And you're running the risk to being the worst team in the division. You're the worst team than Daniel Jones. The Daniel Jones-led Indianapolis Colts. Think about that. Let that sink in. You have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, they have Travis Hunter, but and as much as I like Travis Hunter, right now he's just like a freak show. People are buying tickets so that they can see him play wide receiver, and they're seeing that he can play defensive back. Okay. You should be better than the Tennessee Titans that has Cam Ward out there. He's a rookie, 2 games in. He's struggling to complete passes, but I understand. He's a rookie. Again, he did come from the University of Miami, so that could be his problem as well. I digress. I wish Stevie D was here for that one, and maybe it makes it easier to get away with that. But you should be better than that, and you're not. So, there's a lot. And Craig, I hear you, right? Is it the coaching? Is it the players? If I'm looking at it right now, it's a combination. It definitely, you're not putting the players in the right position. We talk about the square peg round hole. It's all of that. It's the players, and maybe they've given up a little bit on CJ Stroud. They're not seeing the guy that they thought was going to be the next one. And is not producing, not performing in the way that they would expect. I don't know. That's a really good question, and it definitely, to your point and to mine as well, it's definitely a combination of both. But I'll tell you what, they better get it turned around real quick, and it's easy for them. It's easy because again, you're saying Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, is going to be the guy to lead the Colts to the playoffs. Are you kidding me? This guy was pathetic with the Giants. Now, maybe it was the Giants that made him bad, and now we're seeing what the Manning saw in him at the Manning Passing Academy. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know. Let's go to the other game that we had Monday night. Again, I'm struggling with these. If you're going to put, 2 games on a Monday night and you want us to stay up on the East Coast till 1 a.m, please have something that's a little bit better than the Chargers and the Raiders. So sad to see Khalil Mack go down. I will say that. Big fan, root for him. Obviously, the Buffalo connection. So always a big fan of Khalil Mack. I really wish he would come to Buffalo somehow, some way. But we saw the Chargers out there, and as bad as the Chargers looked, and maybe that was the hangover from Brazil or whatever it was. Maybe it was just the Raiders themselves. Offensively, they really looked basic and anemic. That's the only way I could put it. The big play was the touchdown to Johnston on the blown coverage. Well, actually, it wasn't blown coverage. If you watch the game and you watch that route, that was a thing of beauty. Because basically what he did was he ran a post flag, and the DB just bit all over it, and then he was gone. I mean, just gone. It was a thing of beauty. Wide open, all he had to do was catch it, which he seemed to have a problem with that last year. Maybe stick him on the gloves, a different glove, whatever he's doing. It's working for him. We'll just put it like that. It's working for him. But it was a thing of beauty. Able to take it to the house, made a house call. And again, the Chargers were never in jeopardy of losing that game. Geno kind of looked like the Geno we knew from before, not the Seattle Geno, and I'm not going to bang on the Jets, but he looked like that Geno. He just looked lost. The Raiders themselves, they just did not – they just didn't look like they were prepared to play, and that goes on Pete Carroll for not having that team ready. So that's kind of a quick look around the league. Obviously, I didn't talk about one game. There is a team, and I'd love to be able to have the Jeopardy music. There is a team that plays in the Midwest that is so cocky. Now, we're going to hear all the excuses right now, but so cocky. They are 0-2. What I find funny about this, more than anything, what I find funny is that they are getting a dose of their own medicine. What do I mean? You had the Eagles do their infamous tush push, and we saw it on multiple plays where they were doing the tush push, where they were actually leaving early, false starts, which would have been a 5-yard penalty and taking them out of the tush push zone multiple times and never called. You had Dean Blandino, who was like, oh, yeah, that's a penalty. That is absolutely a penalty. Don't know how that wasn't called. And yes, Craig, it is the calls. This is something that the Chiefs have been benefactors of for years, of getting these calls, these phantom calls, and then the legitimate calls that weren't called against them. And now we see what happens. Now the shoe is on the other foot. Maybe it's because there's a Lamar in Baltimore. Maybe because there's a Josh in Buffalo that all of a sudden you start looking at it and they're like, well, let's shift the focus. I don't know, just saying. But all of a sudden, Kansas City is not getting what they used to get. And what are they doing now? You are absolutely right, Craig. Craig, I need to have you in the seat here. What are they doing? They are absolutely crying. It is the funniest thing in the world because you are so accustomed to getting this roughing the passer, hands to the face, holding, pass interference, all of these calls that were really phantom calls. You're getting these phantom calls. And when it comes down to it, now you're struggling. You have a tight end who is past his prime. I talk about that imaginary line. This guy is past his imaginary line. He can't hold on to a ball in the end zone. And then it goes for an interception. Talk about Travis. Things are going in the wrong direction for the Chiefs. And it's I'm not crying. I'm not going to lie. I am not crying. I am. They say that you should never revel in the demise of someone. But when you don't admit that certain things happen, when you have a right tackle who always leaves early and they would never call it. I remember we broke down Jawan Taylor's plays. And if he left early, you knew it was a pass. If he actually left at the snap of the ball, it was a run. And I challenge you, because he's still out there doing the exact same thing, watch a Kansas City Chiefs game and watch number 74. Every single time they go to pass, he's at least 2 seconds ahead. Second and a half, 2 seconds ahead. And the refs would not call it. Now, they're starting to call it. And now that they're starting to call it, he's being called out by his teammates, and he's being called out by the fans. You didn't call him out for the previous years when this happened? It happens all the time with this guy. So, going back to the game, the Eagles were able to prevail, and I appreciate it. Philadelphia, thank you. A little tip of the cap there. The other thing that I thought was funny was Chris Jones and Jalen Hurts kind of going at it. Jalen always has the mic drop, right? Scoreboard. Chris Jones was barking at, talking about Jalen Hurts' yardage in that game. Don't worry about the yardage. Look at what the scoreboard says. And is that quite possibly indicative of what's happening in that locker room? That you actually have to get up there as they're taking a knee and you want to talk about how many yards somebody had in that game? Are you that worried and that upset, that butthurt, that that's going to be your only attack on Jalen? Maybe you should have stopped the tush push. Maybe you should have applied more pressure. Just saying. Maybe you can't because you're a little bit older and not the same that you were years before. But this is how you're coming at him? We see that type of action attitude from those who can't but wish that they could. That's what we see. Right? And this is half the reason why I love Prime. I love T.O. I love the guys that talk smack. Love it. But the only way that you can talk smack, the only way, is if you can back it up. And is this your way, Chris Jones, of talking smack? You're trying to hurt Jalen Hurts, no pun intended, but you're trying to hurt his feelings by saying how many yards? just point to the scoreboard. You may want to point to the ring, but just be careful because he may point to the rest of his ring. So that one you may want to hold off on, but at least you can point to the scoreboard. Anyways, that again, as we look around the league and just what was happening, those are some of the big ones that were out there. Definitely the injury bug. To kind of recap, the injury bug that was sweeping the NFL last week. Where I want to go next, and really, Demetrius, he did, he really did. And you're a veteran, and you should know that. Where I want to go now, and as I was going to say, probably need to have a commercial, right? No commercial breaks, no Stevie D that I get allowed to take my water. So you're gonna have to bear with me as I take a sip of water. But where I want to go next is something that we were going to start last week. Never got around to it. So we're going to do the power rankings. Now, I'm not going to go through all 32 teams. I want to be careful because, make sure my man Stevie D is not watching this one because we want to talk about the bottom and the top. We're not going to do the middle. But I'm going to give you those that are in my bottom five. I'm going to tell you right now, my bottom five at number 32, I don't care what they say, Miami Dolphins. Hands down, the Miami Dolphins. They are as I said before, a complete dumpster fire. At least the other teams have something to look forward to in our building. They may not be that good. But when you have what you have in South Florida, I'd rather have a Bryce Young. I'd rather have some young wide receivers and maybe get a different coach, and then I'm a little bit better. But at least in my mind, I have a future. Now, the Saints, but I still have to put the Dolphins down there, right? If I look at the Titans, all right? And so let me go to 31. If I go to 31, that's going to be the New Orleans Saints. Okay, New Orleans Saints, I still think that the Saints are trying to play for Arch Manning, even though right now we won't talk about what Arch is doing in college football, but all the hype, I think that was their play. If I look at number 30, well, New York Jet fans, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns. Thought I was going to say the Jets. No, not the Jets. It's a toss-up between the Browns and the Titans. I'd love to put the Browns there, but I think they're playing okay. The Titans, right now they are just they are just in a pot of I'm being driven by a rookie quarterback, and we needed to let him go through the pains. That's really what it is. If we're going to be bad, they know it, and we'll come through it on the other side. Where the Browns, they just underachieve. A horrible decision to start Flacco. Horrible. Because Flacco is not your future. But yet you don't have that team to take you all the way to the top. So what are we doing? We're letting Myles Garrett get a year older. We're letting all the rest of the players get a year older. We're letting some of those contracts, just paying out the money in those contracts with a team that's not ready to go all the way. And I'm not grooming either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders if they are the future. Right? We're talking about mid to low round draft picks. Personally, I do think Shedeur over Gabriel, and I think Shedeur should be starting. Neither here nor there. Not the time for the debate. The question is, why is Joe Flacco starting? It gives you no benefit. So right now we're at Dolphins, Saints, Titans, Browns. Who's the last one? I teased the Jets. but it's not the Jets. It's the Panthers. I actually have the Jets much higher than their 0-2 record. Now, yeah, last week we talked about it on Rapid Reaction. Horrible. You're at home. That was bad. You were just outclassed, outmatched. But what bothered me from the Jets' perspective, it didn't seem like they showed heart. It didn't seem like they played with their mind. You're allowing this guy, Michael Clemens, on the field doing whatever. Not good. I do think that Aaron Glenn will get it turned around. I just don't know. And I again, love to have Stevie D on here to really be able to provide his insight on that. But I don't know if Aaron Glenn is truly the guy to get him to the next level. He can definitely be a much better improvement than what they had from Robert Saleh over his last few years. But there's that tiers of coaching. And it seems like Aaron Glenn is cut out of that Bill Parcells mode. That's that 1990s coaching. We're dealing with millennials. Right? Millennials do not like being yelled at, right? Or even past the millennials, right? This whole new generation. They do not like being yelled at. They don't like it at all. And now you have the old school mentality and you have the new school player, right? The new school player just hit me up on Snapchat or TikTok or whatever and let me know. Old school, you would have him out there running 110 still, pushing the sled all by himself. You'd have him working and running. You can't do that. This group's soft. The CBA already dictated how soft they are. But I think the Jets are a much better team. I really do. I think they're a much better team than what their record shows. And that's where I have the Carolina Panthers there. I still think they showed promise at the end of last year. They did. They also stole my guy, Jimmy Horn Jr. Man, I wanted him to the Bills. But let's stay with the Panthers. The Panthers have to find a way to kind of move from being the lovable loser, and I don't even know if they're lovable, just being the loser, to start taking that next step. I think Bryce Young can do it. He showed that he could do it. It's just you got to get everything to click. You got to get everything to go. And a lot of these coaches are getting these shots that don't deserve a head coaching opportunity just yet. How many coordinators do we see coming in? Oh, this is the hottest coordinator here. This is the hottest coordinator there, right, for defense or for offense. But these guys don't know what it takes to truly be a head coach. We've seen some that have come out and they've done really well, right? And they all want to point to Sean McVay. Okay, yeah, you did great there. But look at all the ones that have failed. And for teams that are trying to build that have been bad for so long and are trying to build and grow out of that, and you look at Carolina, you're in that boat. And you're trying to grow. You need to have the established head coach that knows how to get you to the next level. And once you get there, you not only do you have the momentum, but now you have the locker room, you've built culture. Now it's about really, truly winning and taking it to that next level. And I don't know if that coach that you have would do that, but that's where you need to get to. Right now, you're just churning through coaches that are really not going to do, and you're spot on, Craig. Norvell Turner is a perfect example. You are right. That's the type of coach that you need. Somebody, but he may be too old. Remember, we were talking about the older generation and the millennials, but it's that type of coach that can help you win, that can teach you about winning. And then you get there, and then it's about just kind of putting the frosting on the cake. Dimitri says, 2 teams worry me, I know, but the Chargers and the Colts have talent on both sides. With Burrow out, not worried about Cincinnati. Baltimore tough. I just feel like if we get home field, we could beat them again. You are correct, Dimitri. You are absolutely right. All right, so that's our bottom 5. Let's flip it and go to our top 5. And we are going to go bottom up for the top 5. Okay, don't have a drum roll. Okay, coming in at number 5 is led by Jim Harbaugh and the powder blue Los Angeles Chargers. That right now, the loss of Khalil Mack is going to be big, but the way that Herbert is playing, Herbert is definitely starting to show his wares, and Harbaugh, who is a traditional run guy, is now realizing I got a guy in the pocket that can deliver the ball. So I like the Chargers in at number 5. If I go to number 4, somebody may not like this one. Sorry, I'm going to have to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. Craig, I think you thought I was talking about you. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have a good defense. Their offense, aside from Saquon, which is a big aside from, so don't get me wrong, aside from Saquon, is really hoping to make it 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 so that they can do this tush push. That's it. Their wide receivers, in my opinion, are a little bit above average at best. They are controllable. Hurts, he can beat you with his feet, but he's not the Lamar Jackson. He's not the Josh Allen type of runner. So it's really all about Saquon. You control Saquon, you have a really good shot against the Eagles. Now, their defense, again, is top-notch, which keeps them up there in the top 5. Number 3, Jordan Love is the toast of the town, or was the toast of the town until they got this guy, Micah Parsons. How do you trade in your same conference? First of all, you don't trade in your same division. And let alone, you don't trade one of the league's best players in your same conference, because they will stop you from getting to where you need to go. Horrible trade from that perspective. Green Bay Packers, they are legit. In the way that the NFC North is playing out, Chicago still is not ready to take that jump. I know I called them making playoff. They're not ready. I think Detroit's all excited that they had a big win. You beat Chicago. Let's temper those emotions there. Detroit is still going to struggle with the loss of both their offensive and defensive coordinators. And not just the coordinators. They lost everybody behind them. So they have to be very careful there. And then you have Minnesota. Again, you're starting J.J. McCarthy, who I do like. I have mentioned I liked him. He's going to be out, and not only is he out, Addison is out, and you're still starting what was a rookie quarterback. This is all Green Bay's to win, and they're just going to keep going, and they're going to run right through that NFC North. I have them at number 3. So now that leads me to the top 2. It's really easy. Not the bias. The scoreboard. Number 2 is the Ravens. Ravens are a legit team. Everybody has to recognize that they are a legitimate team. Derrick Henry is a beast. I keep explaining this to people. He's the type of back that I have always liked. On top of that, he's got the speed. I like the big back. Give me the Earl Campbell type of back, right? Just a guy that is going to be a bruiser. But then Derrick Henry adds speed, agility. That in itself is something hard to overcome. And then you have number 8 back there. Louisville guy, ACC, don't like you. However, I respect you, right? That's, as a Knicks fan, could not stand Larry Bird, but I respect you. When all is said and done, I will truly give you your props when you're out of the game. But right now, I respect you. He is legit. He is legit back there. I do believe that the Bills have put out the game plan on how to slow him down, except for with that game plan, that works as long as you don't allow that big monstrosity back there who runs like a 4.2 to gallop and gash you for 10 yards a pop. So, and then, they've improved the passing game. The Ravens are legit. They have a really good secondary in that defense. They are legit. They come in at number 2. And number 1 is America's team. Hands down, we're international, we're global, but we are truly America's team, the red, white, and blue. It's your Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is just being led by Superman. He is truly Superman. And what he does for the offense, what he does for the defense, what he does for the coaching staff is he's taking everybody to another level. He's allowing these guys to make their mistakes, and he covers for their mistakes. It's, as a Bills fan, he is what you always dreamed of, but the other guy had him. You didn't have him. You got close, but you didn't have that guy. We have that guy. He is truly that guy. On all levels. On the playing field, in the locker room, in his personal life. I mean, you won't hear a bad thing about Josh. He's just a good guy. Everybody says it. He's just a good guy. He's the guy you want as your neighbor. Just a good guy. He's a dog on the field. That's what you want. You want a guy who gets his nose busted and is running to the sideline so that they can stick cotton gauze up in his nose so he can come back out. And ready to go. Ready to run again. He is a dog. Yes, he hurdles. He dives for touchdowns. He is that guy. He is truly that guy. And when you have that guy, if it's even close with another team, he'll take you to the next level. Added to it, the Bills right now, they're a scary team. They are a scary team, and that's, again, why I have them at number 1. They are a scary team because offensively, everybody's waiting to hear about that big-name wide receiver. But they have put together, smartly, pieces for that wide receiving core. Guys that can do one thing that they specialize, but they can do other things. You don't have just that deep threat that you're worried about. You have guys that are intermediate route runners, guys that are yak receivers. You have a guy that is a jump ball. I mean, that's exactly what you want. You look at the tight ends. You have a matchup nightmare with Kincaid. And then we have a rookie out there that we brought in to block, and he's catching the ball 30 yards down the field. And then, of course, you look in the backfield, it's a 3-headed monster. In my opinion, it's a 2-headed monster because the third head of that is on the practice squad. But you got James Cook, you got Ty Johnson, and the other guy, Ray Davis. Should be Frank Gore Jr. But it's almost like fire and lightning and everything else mixed in between. Because when you watch Cook run, you look at his size and you think to yourself, this is just a guy, he's like a Dave Meggett type guy. He's just going to run for the younger generation. Dave Meggett used to play, or like an Eric Metcalf used to play with the Giants or with the Browns for Metcalf. And these were smaller guys that were kind of juke guys, had a little shiftiness, good out of the backfield to catch it. But they really weren't good in between the tackles. That's what you would think of Cook. But no, Cook is a guy that can run in between the tackles. You saw all the touchdowns. They weren't all just breakaway 20-yard touchdown runs. No, he was going right over center. But he's got the vision. He's got the twitch. He's got the cut. It was no more present for us than the jump cut for the touchdown run he had against the Jets. I mean, ridiculous. Ridiculous. And that was between the tackles. Think about that. That was between the tackles. So you have Superman, and then you have the rest of his cast. That is great. You go on the other side of the ball, we're going to need to put up some points. And that's for sure. The good thing is that we have some guys that are hurt that are coming back, some guys that are on suspension. We're not going to go into that one, but some guys that are on suspension that are coming back. And then you have the way Bosa is playing. Lights out. Lights out. And some may say maybe the best free agent signing this season. I heard somebody, I think I was talking to Demetrius. He compared him to Bryce Pop as far as if he continues to play the way he's playing, not comparing as far as the playing style, but the importance to the team. And for you older Bills fans, if you remember when the Bills signed Bryce Pop, the impact that he made, it was just devastating. And if Bosa can stay healthy, the big if, we know his track record, we know his history. But you put all of that together, you look at what this team is doing. They were able to come back against a very good Ravens team. They were able to dominate the Jets on the road. Now they're coming home, short week, where they're coming home for the Mike McDaniel funeral, coaching funeral, we'll say. They're coming back for that, right? Everybody can read the eulogy of how Mike McDaniel hung 70 on the Broncos and how Mike McDaniel got caught smoking or vaping on the sideline and how Mike McDaniel speaks in who knows what kind of language in press conferences, but it was a good run. It's time for you to go. And that will probably happen on Thursday. So that's the 5 there, and we're going to try to do this as a regular segment during our Wednesday show. Do the bottom 5, do the top 5, see who the movers, who the shakers are. We'll also make sure that we post that on Mafia Den and Jets Hangar, which, by the way, if you are not a member of either one of those groups, please make sure you join one or join both. If you're a Bills fan, join Jets Hangar. Get some good insight. See what they're doing over there. And if you're a member of Jets Hangar, come on over to come over to the Mafia Den. Hang out with us, chat with us, right, and see what it's like on the other side. You are right, Demetrius. Bryce Pop had 15 sacks that year. Sure did. All right. Went a little long there, longer than I wanted to. I definitely want to get into the Thursday night game, and I have kind of prefaced, some different takes that we have for the game. But when we look at the upcoming Thursday night game, first of all, I hate Thursday night games. To be completely honest with you, I hate them. I don't think it's fair to the players. I don't think it's fair to the fans. And it's just, I don't like it. I don't need to have that made up primetime game. First of all, we all know what the primetime game was. When you were younger growing up, it was Monday Night Football. You didn't have the Thursday. You didn't have the Sunday night game. You were done around 7 o'clock and you were good. And then you couldn't wait till Monday night. Now they want to throw it on Sunday night and they have this Thursday night game. Thursday was only meant for one time. That was Thanksgiving. But here we go. We find ourselves. As fans, we got to work on Friday. You're killing me. We have to work on Friday. Aside from that, from a player's perspective, didn't the league say, I could have swore, and correct me if I'm wrong, to anybody that's out there, didn't the league say that they were concerned about player safety? Wasn't that something that they said? And they've been preaching player safety. Well, how is it that you're concerned about player safety and a team plays on Sunday and is now turning around playing on Thursday. But where's the concern for player safety there? In a typical week, first of all, they talk about the game is like being in a car crash, multiple car crashes, just the abuse and the pounding that your body is taking. Typical week, Monday is rehab day. Rehab day on Monday. Tuesday is your rest day. So you have rehab, maybe you get a light workout in just to make sure that you're still keeping up your strength and everything, but it's a light workout. It's more about trying to get your body recovered from what happened the day before. Tuesday is your day off. Wednesday is when you get started for the Sunday game. Now we have a Thursday game. Okay? So what happened to the Monday recovery and the Tuesday rest? Because by Wednesday, we're doing a walkthrough, and then you're getting ready for the game on Thursday. So something's got to go. Something has got to go. So don't tell me, Roger, don't tell me that the league is concerned about player safety. Don't want to hear it. Now, with all that being said, again, thank you, league, for scheduling the Dolphins for our Thursday night game. Because if the team goes out and they do what they're supposed to do, and what I'm anticipating that they're going to do, hopefully, I used to say play 60. Well, if you start off playing 60, we'll be done in 30. Mitch Trubisky, you look great on the one pass that you threw. I mean, actually, just to take a step back, we give, and it's not just me, it's not just Bills fans, it's not just Bears fans. We give Trubisky a lot of grief. Let me tell you, he came in when Josh went off with the broken nose. He came in and threw a dime to Palmer. I mean, a dime. And I think Palmer was going up against Sauce. Threw a dime. Got to give him credit. But I would like to see Mitch Trubisky come in because the Bills are safely ahead against the Dolphins and let Josh rest. I would like to see Ray Davis learn how to run the ball and let James Cook rest. These are things I'd like to see. I would like to see number 57 come in the game and let Joey Bosa rest. Like to see that as well. I would like to see Trey continue to play but rest. Maybe Taron Johnson not have to play, if he is going to play, not have to play as much. These are things I'd like to see. And I thank the NFL for putting the Dolphins in that position so that then that not only did they play half a game, they got the dub, but then they have 10 days off and they can rest. So that's what I'd like to see. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. Just to preview this game, though, usually I'll put up my keys to victory. It's more to don't fall into the trap. This year, the word for this year will be trap. Because for most of the games, they are trap games. And it's all about mindset. You take 1 week at a time. There is no such thing as a trap game. Typically, a trap game is where you're looking ahead and you're looking at your future opponent. And you're overlooking the team that you're playing, and then they can come up and smack you in the mouth. And then you lose, and you're like, how did you lose this game? Should be no traps here. One game at a time. Superman, at least, is saying the right things. Getting the team focused. Sean McDermott, get the team focused. You go out there, you handle business. You have handled business against the Dolphins, I don't know what, four consecutive games now. I mean, Tua really, if he wanted a bye week, this should be his bye week because he never comes out of a Bills game healthy. He should stay out of this one. So you go through and stay focused. Don't allow this to be a trap game. I would like to see more from the defensive line. At Zion Logue, I'm going to tell you that guy is a beast. Or at least against the Jets, he was a beast, right? It's only one game. Not going to anoint him the second coming. But he was a beast. And it really would be nice to have him in that rotation. Imagine being a call-up. Imagine being a call-up off the practice squad, and you come in there and you just ball out. The way Jimmy Churlo did during preseason games. And you just ball out. You have now earned the respect of your teammates, endeared yourself to the coaching staff. They're saying this could be the guy. He could be the next guy. And now you're part of that regular rotation. You got your shot. Zion, you have got your shot. You already proved it in one game. Let's just keep it rolling. Keep that momentum rolling. I'll tell you another thing I want to look out for is Matt Prater. You may say, a kicker? Really, a kicker? Well, we're getting closer and closer to the time when Tyler Bass is supposed to come back. We are getting close. They're going to have to make a decision. That's going to be a tough one. As long as Matt Prater keeps kicking the way he has been kicking. The new kickoff rule, you don't have to boot it in and out of the end zone. You just got to put it in that landing zone. So I'm not worried about the kickoffs. And I got a guy where we're talking 35 to 52 that I don't have to have any fear. I don't have to hold my chest hoping that it goes through. Now, if it goes past 52, that's where Bass is my guy. Right when he kicked that 61-yarder against Miami, kicked that 61-yarder. Bass is my guy for the long leg. But I worry about Bass in that 35 to 52. It's like Forrest Gump said. He's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes it goes straight center cut. Sometimes it goes way high over the edge of the goalpost. Ooh, just made that one. Sometimes it goes left. No good. Goes right. No good. It's like, what's going on? They say it's mental. He's got the yips, right? David Duval had the yips. Going golfing. But like Duval had the yips. I don't know. I really like the guy. But when you have a season that is setting up the way this season is setting up, I'm going to tell you, you have got to go with what is known good. And that's going to make a tough decision for McDermott from Bean as far as how they handle Bass. That's as long as Prater keeps doing what he's doing. And right now, again, it's early. It is early. But he's been money. Money on the extra points, money on the field goals. You may say, well, in Buffalo, you got the wind and you got the cold weather and you have the elements, yada, yada. Okay, yeah, he kicked in Denver. He's good. He's good. So he has a lot of that experience. Not like these dome kickers or these southern kickers that have never experienced that. That decision is going to be real tough. That's going to be a hard decision. And I actually want Prater to make that decision as difficult as possible because that means that he is still just putting it through. I really would like it just to be extra points and not field goals, right? Because then that means that 17 is driving in for touchdown after touchdown after touchdown, or 4 is just taking it to the house calls. So Prater is another one to look out for. I'm going to tell you a player. This is the last one I have for you guys. I'm going to tell you a player, though, that I'm waiting to see him break out. And maybe it could still be injury related. Maybe. I'm talking about Khalil Shakir. We know the difference that Shakir makes. I mean, he is the king of yak. Love watching him when he has the ball in his hands. The things that he can do He's got the twitch. He's got the shake. He's got the heart. But we haven't really seen that true breakout Shakir game, right, where he's catching anything and everything around the line of scrimmage and turning that into 10, 15, 20 yards. We haven't seen that true Shakir game. Multiple catches of that as well. So I want to see what's going to happen. Now, the Dolphins, their secondary, horrible. I don't think I could name a person except for Fitzpatrick. And he's older, so nothing, knock on wood, nothing to worry about there. And so maybe this might be the Shakir breakout game where, he's able to get off, get the 7-8 catches, 110 in a tutty. We would look for that. So I don't know. Interesting things. Again, unfortunately, it's that Thursday. Let me flip real quick. I am not going to put on a Jets shirt or a Jets hat. Will not happen. But for my man Stevie D, I will talk a little bit about the Jets Bucs game. Now, first and foremost, I guess I can root for the Jets. Maybe I just don't root for anybody. Maybe a tie. Ooh, a tie. I'll root for a tie. But when we look at the Jets, again, this is a team that I said after week 1, and I was telling Stevie D, yes, you lost to the Steelers, but you showed so much progress from the 2024 season in that one game that the future is bright for you. And then you went into week 2, outclassed. Again, take it for what it is. You were outclassed. You played well. From a Bills perspective, yes, we won, but understand that there were a lot of plays where the Jets were kind of imposing themselves on the Bills. And that's good from a Jets perspective. You have to put it all together in order to take that next step, but you're able to see certain things that are happening within that organization. The problem that they fell victim to against the Bills is that you had a Justin Fields who just really was not – he just wasn't ready. He wasn't ready on so many levels. He was high, he was wide, he was short, throwing behind the receivers. It wasn't good. I think he threw for 26 yards. Was not good at all. But he will get better. He will definitely get better. With the Jets, though, they're coming down to Tampa. Tampa has a good team. They have a good team. They're not a great team, but they have a good team. I would put Tampa on par with Pittsburgh. I really would. I would say that those two teams are very closely matched as far as the talent that they have out there. And if the Jets bring the same level that they did against the Steelers down here to Tampa, now you won't have Justin Fields, and maybe that's a good thing. Because Justin is out still with the concussion. So from when you start looking at it, you're going to have Tyrod Taylor back there. Love me some Tyrod Taylor, former Buffalo Bill, former Baltimore Raven for you, Craig, if you're still with us. Love me some Tyrod Taylor. What does he bring? He brings that veteran leadership. He's been in the trenches before. He's played a full season. He's a Pro Bowler. Call it what he is. He is a Pro Bowler. So you bring him into the lineup. He's got a full week of practice, so you don't have to worry about a guy coming off the bench cold that's been thrown to the 2s and to the 3s. You're right, Craig. He's got the mobility. You got a lot coming in under center that can help propel the Jets. And if they are to get the same level of effort that they brought to Pittsburgh, they're walking out of Tampa with a victory. They will walk out with a victory. Now they have to play smart. Aaron Glenn talked about that all week. Aaron Glenn was crying about not getting calls. I could go off on that, but I'll be nice. I won't go there. But he did say we have to be smart. Being smart means you need to control number 72. That's what you have to do. You have to be smart when you're going up against certain players. Now, I'm going to tell you, Baker Mayfield is not Josh Allen. He's not. Baker Mayfield is not going to get the same calls that a Josh Allen would get, or a Lamar Jackson, or a Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to get that. But you still want to play smart because you don't want to run that risk. Does that mean that you go for the chest and the body instead of going up high? Yes. Yes. Got to be smart. Does that mean if a guy is going to slide, you ease up? Yes. I think the league needs to redress the whole slide, though. Kenny Pickett. They need to redress that. But you have to be smart. You have to be smart on the line. Get rid of the pre-snap penalties. Be smart there. And outside of that, the Bucs rookie receiver is down. He's questionable if he's going to play. You got a shot. You have a legitimate shot. So my man CBD will be at that game. I will be there. I can't wear my Bills stuff. I think I'm going to have to wear my OWSports jersey and OWSports hat. There is a no-no. You cannot, if you go to a game where your team is not participating, you cannot wear your team. If they are not participating, you can't do it. You don't. I can't be that guy. So I'm going to wear OWSports. I'm not wearing green, that's for sure. But since it is my man Stevie D's weekend, I'm the tie. I'm going back to the tie. Dimitri says, no. And then Dimitri, I've always said the rules should be the quarterback wants to cross the line of scrimmage, you go live. That's your choice. I do agree with you. We talked about that. You make the decision. If you're scrambling out of the pocket, you make the decision. They make the decision they want to slide. That's the league trying to protect the faces of each franchise and the faces of the league. I kind of get that, but you're a football player as well. So if you're by the side, run out of bounds. And run out of bounds. Don't pretend like you're running out of bounds to try to pick up a few extra yards. They're going to keep doing this stuff. And at some point, everybody remembers the Nate Clements hit on Tom Brady. There you go. So, all right. That's going to wrap this one up. Again, I appreciate everybody who is here to participate, everybody who watched the podcast. Get ready. If you need to call into work or get a doctor's note for Friday, whatever you need to do, be prepared. It's going to be a late one. Hopefully it won't be. Before I go, here's a tale of two games. 2 victories by the Bills. They played the Ravens, the comeback. The game was over, 12:30, 12:45-ish. I was up until 4 o'clock, riding high, adrenaline, euphoria. Could not go to sleep. Tried, but could not. Brutal for the next day. Played the Jets. I know it was a 1 o'clock game. Played the Jets. Won the game. I was as cool as a cucumber. I was good. The adrenaline was gone probably by halftime and just in cruise control all the way in. That's what I'm hoping for tomorrow night's game. Let me just be on cruise control all the way through, and that'll be nice. Then it'll be easy to get up for the Friday, to go to work and all that good stuff. So, listen, again, I do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody coming to hang out with us. You can always catch previous episodes of the podcast either in Facebook on our Facebook groups, Mafia Den, Jets Hanger, on our Facebook page, OW Sports. You can also check us out on YouTube, and you can watch all of the podcasts that we've had. And it's been a great ride. It's been a wild ride. But I do appreciate it. And I miss my man Stevie D. I know he'll be back. I think next week we are not going to have a rapid reaction. So for the rapid reaction, that one will be skipped till our next podcast next Wednesday. But again, appreciate you guys taking the time to spend some time with us, talking football, talking Bills football, talking Jets football, and just talk about the game that we love so much. That's going to wrap it up. I'm Vince. We'll talk to you soon.